Hi, I'm Belle and welcome to How to IT. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to get the most out of your mic. So the first step is finding the right place for your mic. There's no point in changing a whole heap of settings if your mic is over there somewhere. You need it near your mouth. So I personally think the best setup is either a headset with a mic attached or a lanyard, or you can go down the route of a separate mic. But the positioning of this is very crucial. With the headset mic, it's like right there. No matter where you put your head, you're always speaking into your mic, and pretty much the same with the lanyard. If you go down this route of a standalone mic, it is better off making sure you have a foam filter around your mic. If you can, getting one of those pop filters as well is really good. Also, ditching the table stand of your mic and putting it up on a boom stand will increase your audio levels greatly. When it's down on the table like this, it can pick up all the noises, like if you bump your table or if your keys. That sound is closer to your mic than it is your voice to your mic. So if you can get it up off your table onto a boom stand, then that'd be amazing. Also, don't put it right directly in front of your mouth. You might get a lot of distortion and pops throughout your mic. I generally have it on the angle, so my voice air, the projection when I say certain words, goes past the mic, not into the mic. By doing that, you won't hear as many pops and distortions through your mic. So another thing you want to be aware of is how close your mic is. As I said, you don't want it really far away. You still want it close to you, but not so close that you're going to hear like really creepy breathing noises. So I generally have, a fist and a little bit extra between my mic and my mouth. And you kind of want it in front, but over to the side. I generally have it inlined with my shoulder, if that helps. Okay, so now you've got a good position for your mic. Let's get into filters. Now we can set up some filters for your mic. Now some mics already have a built-in program to them to set some of the things that we're going to set today. If this is the case, do it in that program instead of OBS. But if your mic doesn't, you can use OBS to make your mic sound better. Okay, so first off, you need to set up the mic in OBS. So if we head down to settings, then audio, and now make sure our mic auxiliary audio is our microphone. So if you have set that up and you press OK, you should be able to see your mic level volume going up and down. Now you will want to adjust your mic gain level to where your voice is hitting the middle yellow, so around -15 decibels. You can adjust this normally on the mic itself. You can turn the mic up and down. If you can't, you may have to go into settings. So here we are in settings, and you see I've got my microphone selected. And if we come down here, I can actually move this up and down to effectively get more gain on my mic. So now you've set your gain on your microphone, and you're consistently hitting the yellow when you're talking. So now we're going to add some filters onto our mic. So if you do have an app that is controlling your mic, you may not notice any changes when you're changing and adding filters in OBS, because the mic itself is being controlled by the app. So if that's the case, you would want to fiddle around with your mic settings in your app. Okay, so I'm going to run through some mic filters that you can apply to your mic to sound better. Now, every mic is different and every voice that is using the mic is different. So I'm just going to show you some basic startup settings. Then you can tweak it more for your mic and your voice. So before we get started, I want to show you how you can hear yourself so you can hear the changes we're making. And you can turn this on and off throughout the video. Okay, so if you go into the three little dots at the bottom of your mic, so here, and we're going to go down to Advanced Audio Properties. So here you can find your mic aux, and over to the right, you can see audio monitoring. So we're going to turn this to monitor and output. So I'm going to quickly say a couple sentences. So with that on, you should be able to hear yourself through your speakers or your headset, whatever you're using. Okay, so with that, you can actually hear the difference in your voice while we're changing and adding filters. You can also turn it off by just doing the same thing and just putting monitor off. So I'm going to leave mine off, otherwise it's going to get very annoying throughout the video. Okay, so let's add our first filter. To do this, we can head to those three little dots again under our mic and click on Filters. Now the first filter we're going to add is a noise gate, but we're going to use an expander to do it. So the noise gate is designed to turn your mic off whenever you are speaking. So you shouldn't hear any background noise while you're not speaking. Now there is a noise gate in the list, but I prefer to use the expander, which allows you to tweak your levels. It pretty much makes your quiet noise quieter, so your computer fans, for instance, won't be heard anymore. But it won't, well, the idea of it is it shouldn't cut out your words as much as, say, a noise gate would. Okay, so to add, we're going to go down to this little plus icon, and we're going to go up to expander. Now, if you're more comfortable using a noise gate, go right ahead and do it. but I'm going to show you how to set up an expander as a noise gate. So we're going to click on expander. I'm just going to call this noise gate. Okay, so we're going to head over here and it says presets. We're going to change this from expander to gate. So now the ratio is the amount of reduction that we are going to apply to the threshold we set. So 10:1 ratio is pretty much going to act like your typical, if it's below the threshold, the microphone's going to turn off. If it's above the threshold, the microphone's going to turn on. I like a little bit more natural, but it really depends. If you've got a lot of background noise, or you've got your aircon right next to you, or something that could interfere with your mic, you might want to leave it at 10:1 ratio. So I like mine set lower, around about 4 to 5, and that's pretty much with my background noises. Okay, so next we're going to adjust the threshold. That is your baseline for your expander. It is really reliant on your background noise. But I'll show you how to adjust this to suit your needs. So if you go to the mic audio line and be quiet, so if we just move this over, so if we can see our mic audio line and you just be quiet, you should see little fluctuations that's from background noise in your microphone. Now, chances are if you don't see your mic fluctuating up and down when you're not speaking, you've probably got an app for your mic and it has a noise gate built in. So you'll have to change those settings. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that little background noise that we heard. So my noise was around about minus 55 decibels. Now this number could be completely different to you, but you should be able to follow along. Just change your number according to what your results showed. Okay, so mine was around about minus 55. So I'm going to increase that by 5. So with working with negative numbers, we're going to change it to minus 50. So we're going to go back to our mic settings, threshold, and we can change this to minus 50. So after turning the expander on, with this little eye, so the expander is on, we shouldn't see any pops of noise through our mic now that we've got the noise gate on. So I had no noise coming through my mic, and that's what we want. To turn it off, you can press the little eye and it will be turned off. And you just press the little eye to turn it back on. So if you still heard some noise coming through your mic when you were quiet with the noise gate on, you can always up your threshold. Anything higher than minus 45, minus 40 may cut into your voice. So some of your words may get cut off. If this happens, you just got to bring the threshold down again. But this is entirely up to your background noise and your microphone and your voice. So fiddle with these and get somewhere that you like. And all these other settings you can just leave as they are. Our second filter that we're going to add is an equalizer. So an equalizer allows you to adjust certain frequencies to make our voice sound better and fuller and more realistic like. Although you can overtune it and make yourself sound like a robot. So we're going to try not to do that. Okay, so first we're going to turn our mic monitoring on so you can hear your voice while we're changing these settings. So if you go to the three little dots, Advanced Audio Properties, Monitor, and Output. I'm going to leave mine off because I'm recording and it would just get really confusing with the recording. Okay, but have yours on. Now again, if you don't hear your voice, you may need to go to Settings, so Settings, and then Audio. Make sure you have your microphone that you're using selected in Mic's Aux Audio. And if you go down to Advanced, make sure our monitoring device is set to whatever speakers that you're listening to. So whether it's your speakers or your headset or earplugs, whatever. And then when you talk, you should be able to hear yourself. Okay, so let's make an equalizer. So we're going to click on the three little dots, go to Filters, Plus, we add an equalizer. We're going to add this 3-band equalizer. And I'm just going to leave it as that so we know what it is. Okay, so now we have high, mid, and low. So high, adjusting the high is going to take the edge off those high sounds like S's and T's, which can sometimes make your microphone pop as well. So if you say she sells seashells by the seashore and your mic reading goes into the red and it hits that peaking, it doesn't make for good audio. So if we move our little window here, we go seashells, seashells by the seashore. So mine's pretty good. Now, when you are adjusting your audio, try and talk like you normally would. I know it's hard because like you're listening to yourself, but try and just keep on talking at your normal volume and how you would talk to, say, the person sitting next to you. Then you'll know that your voice is going to be tuned correctly. So if your mic is going into the red when you say that sentence, you'll want to drop the high down. So adjusting mid makes your voice more prominent in your mic, like fuller. So if you adjust it too much, you can make yourself sound like you're in a box or like a robot. But just listen to yourself. You should be able to hear and adjust it accordingly. Mine's not going to because I have my other OBS open with my mic settings. So I don't wreck my audio on my video. Okay, and low, adjust the bass of your voice. So the higher you go, the more bassy your voice will be. And if you drop it away, it'll go more trebly. So bassy, treble. So the settings that I actually use are high. I've got, I do around about -4. And then mid do around about -1 because I have quite a high-pitched voice as it is. And then low, I do -2. So that can be like a starting point for your voice. See how that sounds. But these settings are going to be totally reliant on your voice and how you like to hear it. So just fiddle, see what sounds really good. I do recommend actually using headphones to do this, so you get like a nice clear audio of your voice, and then just fiddle with these settings. But this could be like a nice start point for you to get going. And just keep in mind, try not to have your voice going into that red when you're changing these settings. And if you feel like you've totally mucked things up and don't know how to fix it, just go to defaults. Are you sure you wish to reset current properties? Just press yes, it'll go back to square one, and then you can just try again pretty much. So the next filter that we're going to add is a compressor. So a compressor reduces some of the louder sounds you can make with your voice. Okay, so we're going to go into the plus button down here. We're going to add a compressor. I'm just going to leave it as compressor because that's what it is. And now this may look very similar to the expander that we just set up before. But this will take effect after your voice goes above the threshold. So the noise gate was below the threshold. So we're cutting off or reducing the noise when our voice goes above the threshold this time. So when we're hitting into that red. So now if you scream a lot and will be doing it heaps, it's probably a good idea to keep it around about 10 to 1. So this is going to heavily reduce these sounds, but I like mine a little bit more natural. I like to have my audience know that I'm excited, and it keeps kind of like that tone, but just lessens the volume. So I normally have it around about 4 to 5. Okay, so the threshold is if your voice goes beyond that point, the compressor will kick in. If you have your mic to be in the sweet yellow zone, so hitting roughly -15 decibels all the time, so anything above -5 will be compressed. Attack and release are fine. This is just as the attack is how quick the compressor turns on, and then the release is how quick the compressor will turn off. And the output gain, I normally put this 2 to 3. And then that is the compressor done. Okay, now the next filter that we're going to add is a limiter. So this should be added last. So again, we're going to go to the plus and we're going to select limiter. I'm just going to leave it as limiter. So now the limiter stops us from distorting our audio from like a really loud scream that goes way beyond the red, you know? This should be the last filter that you add as well. So all we're going to change is the threshold to -1. So anything above that -1 is going to be stopped. Now, if you find that some of your words and things are getting cut off, you can change this release to less. So you might be a really fast talker. In that case, you might want this to be like at 15 milliseconds. So your next word that you say doesn't get cut off as well. Okay, so just fiddle around with some of those settings. Make sure you listen to your voice, record yourself, and this is pretty much just a starting point for you to get your mic sounding better on your streams and in your videos. Well, I hope you found this video useful and you got your mic sounding amazing. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and you guys have a fantastic day.